Honor thy father and mother, and provoke not your children to wrath. Yes, we're going a little biblical. Um, Technically, this video is about Zoomers and Boomers, so that would really be what, grandmother, grandfather. And for those Bible heads, Exodus 20:12 is the fifth commandment where it says honor thy father and mother, but they reset it later in Ephesians and add, provoke not your children to wrath. Right? Ephesians 6:2-5. The reason I'm setting that as the title of the video and I'm doing this video is because I feel like there's too much slander for the boomers and the Zoomers, right? And again, I know not technically mother and father. I think Gen X and some of the older millennials raised a lot of the Zoomers, but still, the principle still remains. And really, this could just go for any generation. I'm just sick of generational slander. First off, I never called myself a millennial. That's just what I'm defined as by some asshole somewhere who came up with that term. I was just talking to a friend. He said millennials had a silver spoon. I couldn't disagree more, but I just didn't feel like arguing the point. But all generations had their cross to bear. Not to go back to the Bible, but all generations had their issues. I'm really more sick of the Zoomer slander because we're getting a lot of that, like, oh, these kids are lazy, and it's just like, what jobs would you have them do? The jobs that don't exist? You mean the jobs where they go through 3 interviews and get told at the end, oh, well, we went with someone else, but we'll keep you on file, and there was really no job in the first place? Those are the jobs they're supposed to be working hard at? Like, what do you want them to do? They were given this world. They didn't make it. I know we were all given this world. To some extent, there's a corporate oligarchy. I get that. But what do we want these Zoomers to do? What are they supposed to do? We're on the precipice of a economic crash. It's '08 all over again. I went through '08. The millennials went through the economic crash. That's when I was in my early 20s trying to find a job while every place is closing up, and was blessed to get in somewhere in the little industry that I'm in now. I've been in for almost 20 years. And even now still can barely make ends meet because of the record inflation we've been dealing with the past 5 years. The post-pandemic inflation. But what do we want Zoomers to do? I commend Zoomers. And again, a lot of them are trying to work. A lot of them are working if they can. But I commend the Zoomers. Whether they working, whether they not working. Because if they're not working, and if they say, you know what, I'm not going to do some of these crazy jobs, because society is such a scam. Shout out to the Zoomers who said, you know what, this is a scam. I'm not even going to participate. Now, I don't know how good it's going to be for them long term. You definitely need something to do. But it is a scam. It is a scam. It's absolutely a scam. College was a scam. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But college was a scam. A lot of people, go into trades. Well, how? The Gen Xers are holding on to those trade jobs with dear life. Do they want to train their replacement? No, they don't. Now, maybe if it's their son, their daughter, their whatever, their nephew, niece, whatever, maybe they'll help them out. And that goes back to the nepotism thing. And we know we're atomized. We don't even talk to our family, let alone friends and all that. We're more atomized than ever. And we know it's not what you know, it's who you know. So who are they supposed to talk to? How are they supposed to get in a lot of these jobs? They can't really get in for the trade. Hopefully there's a trade school around them that they can pay for and learn something and learn the skill. But even those trades, you're a truck driver. We're seeing a lot of truck drivers be scammed. Guys working their ass off scam. We're seeing a lot of BS. And I don't know, the boomers, this happened with the millennials too. For some reason, older folks, they see the technology, they don't understand the technology, and they say, well, because you have iPads, so life's just better. Motherfucker, our food supply is poison. Our food supply is fucking poison, homie. You can't go to the store. You eat an apple, that's a sugar bomb. It's not a real apple. Everything about life has been perverted and destroyed. Relationships are dead. Jobs are dead. Food is messed up if you're here in America. What are you talking about? But because I have an iPad, everything's okay? No. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. That's a part of why the boomer is getting their slander. It's not just that they don't know what they're talking about. They won't admit that they don't know what they're talking about. That said, honor thy father, thy mother. Let's defend the boomers. You know, for Gen Xers, millennials, and Zoomers that are, I see a lot of, oh man, the boomers could buy a house for a pack of cigarettes, and now they can sell it for like $800,000. And there's some truth to that, right? There's definitely some people who've been able to do that. But I mean, the boomers went through it. Let's not kid ourselves. First off, a lot of them ain't here. I talk about how population decline is happening on my streams, and I'll probably make some videos about it. How, you know, by the time I'm old enough, the people who should pay into Social Security won't exist. Well, we forget. There's this shit that used to be called the plant, and it was not a fun place to be or a safe place. So a lot of motherfuckers who were boomers, they died in the 80s and the 90s, bro. They had heart attacks at 40 and 50. Remember that? Remember that? Well, I guess that's come back due to certain medical procedures, but that notwithstanding, grown men dying 45, 50, 55 having heart attacks, that was commonplace. They would go into these asbestos field or coal mining or whatever type factories. Hopefully they wouldn't get smashed. Some of them would get smashed up by some machinery. And even if they didn't, they'd work 15 hours a day for hardly no money. And even if they could buy a house, they'd be dead before the damn thing appreciated. We're getting a lot of survivorship bias. We're getting the ones that are still here. We forget how many boomers died at 40, at 50, at 60, just because of how hard work was. Granted, you might say, hey, at least they had a job to do. And I give you that. Jobs did exist. America did used to manufacture stuff, and that helped them out, you know, and that helped them live that American dream. And they don't necessarily realize how hard and unachievable that is. I'll give you that. But they did bust their ass. Some of them had to go to Vietnam. And that was a nightmare. Some of these motherfuckers got mental scars. They had to deal with a lot of stuff. And PTSD, I mean, it only became a thing after. And we know that this country don't treat its veterans right. So some of these boomers went through it. They really went through it. They may not know what they're talking about because they don't know how things are today. But be patient with them. Show them respect. And then all the generations making fun of these Zoomers, what do you want them to do? They can't work hard. With what jobs? All those manufacturing jobs that, yeah, a lot of them killed the boomers. But those who didn't die were able to buy a house with, they don't exist anymore. They're in China, they're in Mexico, they're wherever. So what do you want these Zoomers to do? College, Gen X was able to go to college, get a good job. They told the millennials and Zoomers to do that. A few early millennials got in when the getting was good, but if you didn't, all you got was a bunch of debt and a basket weaving degree. So, you know, Gen X was able to hit that lick. And you got to understand why that energy, you know, was so strong. Again, a lot of these boomers worked in the plant, worked a hard blue-collar job and didn't make that much money. And they looked at their son or their daughter and said, you're not going to be like me. You're going to go to college. And so that perpetuated the idea that you have to go to college to get a good job. And unfortunately, we in a, you know, not to go leftist, we are in a capitalist society, and the colleges capitalize off of that to great profit while offering up very little in return. Like I said, Gen X was able to do it. Gen X was able to go to college, get a degree for a reasonable price, and come out and get a job. That was probably the only generation that went smooth with. By the time the millennials hit, some of the older millennials may have been able to do that. But by the time it was my time or later than that, the Zoomers, no, you couldn't do that. But be patient. Be patient, man. Be patient with each other. I know there's a lot of division, a lot of smoke in the air. Be patient with each other, man. Be patient with the Zoomers. Be patient with the Boomers and the Gen X and the Millennials in between, man. This world is hard. This world is hard. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.